Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan here again today with another video on this astrology channel for you. And today we're going to be looking at tips on how to seduce and keep the earth rising signs. So that's going to be the Taurus rising, Virgo rising, and Capricorn rising. And that's going to be the last video of this series because we've covered all the other rising signs in the other elements already. So we're left with only the earth element rising signs. So for Taurus rising, these individuals will have Scorpio ruling the 7th house. For Capricorn rising, they'll have Cancer ruling the 7th house. And for Virgo rising, they'll have Pisces ruling the 7th house. So this video, you can watch this video if you are dating somebody who's got these earth rising signs. So that means they're going to have the mentioned descendant and 7th house rulers. Or if you have earth rising sign yourself, you can also watch this video. So the theme for the earth risings and what they're looking for in a relationship ultimately boils down to the themes of merging. They're looking to merge into another person. So the 7th house represents attraction, but also long-term commitments and partnerships and relationships, as well as the shadow. So when it comes to Capricorn risings, having Cancer on the descendant and ruling the 7th house, these people are really attracted to those who seem trustworthy. They're attracted to those who are somebody who they feel offers a certain amount of understanding and care for their, for every aspect of their life. They're looking for somebody who has an aura that's maybe a bit youthful and sweet and sometimes innocent. And people who are innocently passionate or like innocently independent may be something that they're kind of attracted to as well. They're also looking for somebody who's going to be soulful and reflective and even deep around them. And soulful is really a thing. There's a more like looking for somebody who, whether the Capricorn rising individual is a biologically man or woman, looking for a partner who has that, makes them feel comfortable and even has a feminine vibe to them. So when the shadow of the Cancer 7th house individual comes out, you may notice some themes surrounding codependency. This can mean that the two of you are together in ways that may not be very healthy for the both of you. So when you notice that this is happening, first of all, if you're dating these individuals, you'll have to be objective about it and know that they're going through a process of embracing and discovering their shadow. And this codependency is really stemming from their past attachment patterns to their family and what that was like and how that attachment pattern is now being played out in your relationship. So if you can be, or if you are somebody who knows a bit about psychology or is willing to study some, human psychology, family psychology, and is willing to be that person who can be like maybe a little bit of their psychologist in a way, one way or another, with love, with rationality, but with love, and is willing to give them insight into, why these types of codependency themes may be popping up. Bring that into clarity for Cancer 7th house individuals. They're gonna love you for it. The other shadow that may pop up with Cancer 7th house individuals is that they can take quite a while to trust. So they may dive into a relationship with you kind of like with their heart on their sleeve, but to really get somewhere with them over time, they're like, should I trust this person? Should I not? How can I trust this person? They're going through this in their heart. Some tips for when this happens is that to understand that they're working this out, they're working these psychological themes out, and live your life. Do what you gotta do in your life, do what you gotta do in your career and your job. Don't give up your life for Cancer 7th house individuals because that can lead to the codependency. That can lead to unhealthy dynamics in a relationship. Just live your life and be yourself. And eventually, once they, the Cancer 7th house individuals are open enough to heal or to work through any of their past pains, they'll come around to you and they will be the most open, vulnerable people letting you in. So they're really looking for a total emotional abundance and merging of that emotional abundance with you, as much as a merging of your material abundance. They're looking for that balance in one way or another. And that's why getting things going with them in a material level, like in an official manner, is going to be in accordance with their emotions and how much trust they've been able to build with regards to how they feel about you over time. So look at where their moon is placed, which house that's placed in, and how that's aspected to get a sense of what their emotional patterns are in their past. If the Cancer 7th house individuals think about you and they feel a certain emotional stirring, they feel a little bit like they want to start something emotionally with you, or it stirs their emotions in one way or another, because Cancer is a cardinal sign. Cardinal signs like to initiate and start things. So they feel something emotionally stirring inside of them every time they think about you. You know that they still are going to be in it for the long run. For Taurus risings, they're going to have Scorpio ruling the 7th house and the descendant. So what Scorpio 7th house individuals are really attracted to in someone is going to be a certain amount of openness, an ability to share a lot, to be vulnerable. They're looking for intimacy. If you can be intimate with them, show them your whole self. They almost want to consume you in a relationship. That's what they're really attracted to. That's what they're looking for. Sometimes when this happens, they can like move really fast in a relationship and things may be too hot and it may burn out. That can happen, but they may be attracted to that as well. So they're going to also be attracted to somebody they feel they can trust, some amount of loyalty, and that comes from that intimacy that you generate with them, the ability to open up. They're also looking for somebody who's authentic and who is living their life based on their own truth. They can, Scorpio 7th house individuals can spot those who they feel are fake or who are pretentious from a mile away, and they're not attracted to pretentious people. They may also be interested in somebody who is willing to take a risk with regards to investment and money. They're also attracted to sexual types, a good sex is something that they're looking for, as well as somebody of high intelligence. And you know what? I think that Scorpio 7th house individuals actually have a high standard in general. Considering this analysis here, I think they have high standards. If you'd like to keep them over time, when their shadow begins to come out, what you may see are the themes in this relationship with them may be regarding power struggles. And when you begin to see power struggles in your relationship, this may look like them wanting to be right. You may begin to see a bit of an arrogant side coming out of them. You may not be able to feel, their humility over time. There may be some stubbornness that comes up. Get a sense of some control that they want to have over the relationship, maybe some possessiveness even. And when this happens, the power struggle occurs in your relationship when you are going against these kind of like shadow sides of them with the same amount of energy. And so therefore, one of my tips for dealing with the shadow of 7th house Scorpio individuals is to approach it from a place of, do I want to be with them because I love them? Or do I want to be with them because I want to win over them and I want to be right and I want to be better? If you can come from a place of receding back from their intense energies and be the higher one, if they really love you, they will also do the same. They will approach from a place of love and not power struggles. But if the 7th house Scorpio individual is not willing to recede back just like you, not being that mirror to reflect your surrender, shall we say, your love, then it may be time to reconsider that these Scorpio 7th house individuals may not be healthy. There may be some toxic behaviors in this relationship and you may need to let them go. Another theme that you may see coming up with regards to their shadow over time is similar to the Cancer 7th house individual with regards to codependency, but the codependency of the Scorpio 7th house individuals, it can be a little bit harder to overcome because of this sense of stubbornness. Scorpio is a fixed sign and they want to be fixed in their emotions. When they've invested in someone, they want to keep it that way. And so it can be harder for them to actually break the bonds of codependency. So when this happens, again, just like for the Cancer 7th house individuals, if you're in a relationship with them, is to come from a place of understanding and love, and to not take it personally, that know that they're working through some shadow parts of them, and live your life the way that you want to live your life. Don't give in to this pattern, because this pattern of codependency can lead to more toxic behaviors. Again, you're going to have to be the one to approach it from love, to be the one to surrender to the situation, and hope that they will come around and they will surrender as well to the control, because codependency is stemming from a place of wanting to control and keep the relationship going, even though rationally you know that the relationship doesn't work. There's some toxic behavior, something unhealthy there. And sometimes this can be codependency with regards to sex or money, meaning that the Scorpio 7th house individual isn't aware of this, but they're in this relationship because of some material ties or some sexual ties. And even though there are other unhealthy dynamics in a relationship, like lying or cheating or jealousy, but because of material ties or sexual ties, they can't really break the bond. And if you are in a relationship with them and you're aware of this dynamic, you may have to be the one to step up the game, talk to them about it, open up, be that one who is willing to be the first vulnerable person. And or sometimes even step away from the relationship for a little bit, give each other some space, some room to think, and transform. Transformation is a theme for Scorpio 7th house individuals. Transform from a place of no fear in a relationship. And then this is a two-way street, so both you and them will have to be looking to transform your deepest fears into security, your deepest insecurities into security. That might mean stepping away from the relationship so that the other party can work through their unhealthy behaviors, come back together after the transformation process, or be willing to stay in the relationship but both working to transform together. So when Scorpio 7th house individuals think about you and they still feel enlightened, they feel lighter rather than heavy, obsessed, compulsive energies. If they can feel that enlightened state when they're with you, you know that they're going to be in it for the long run and you're in a pretty good and healthy relationship. So last but not least, the Virgo rising. So if you're dating a Virgo rising individual, they're going to have Pisces ruling the descendant and the 7th house. Pisces 7th house individuals are going to be attracted to someone for their emotional expression. So this could mean attracted to art or music, creativity, poetry, creative words, or dance. These particular expressions that's coming from your emotions. So you can say that they're attracted to artistic types. That might be another way of looking at this. They're also looking for somebody who is having a certain amount of spiritual abundance, or is at least interested in the same types of spiritual work that they're doing. They may also really be interested in this feeling like, I finally found the one, or I've been through a rough patch in my past relationships, but finally this person is bringing something different. They like that feeling. Pisces and the 7th house individuals like that feeling. So over time, if you'd like to keep them, when you notice their shadow side coming out, you may notice that their shadow revolves around themes of fantasy versus reality, meaning that sometimes Pisces in the 7th house individual can see the reality of your relationship, whether that means something that is working in the relationship or something that is not working in a relationship, and they get it wrapped up in fantasy and use fantasy as an excuse for that. So let's say something's not working in the relationship. They may tell themselves, they may be under this illusion that, oh, but we are having a spiritual connection, that's why we're doing this. Oh, but we're going out of our comfort zone to give to another person, to give to each other unconditionally. And over time, when the illusion disappears, they may feel like, I've really stepped way too much out of my comfort zone. I've really crossed the boundaries. I've really let another person cross my boundaries in this relationship, and it makes me feel a sense of shame. Or there may be something that is really workable in this relationship, but because they're wrapped up in the fantasy of it, they may feel like, no, this relationship is not working. Something is off about it. I can't really connect to this person. They're not so and so and so and so, because they think that they can make fantasy a reality, but the reality of fantasy is that fantasy is a fantasy. It's like Ariel, the Little Mermaid, she's a fantasy and she can never be real. But somehow, Pisces in the 7th house individuals, when they're, working with their shadow, can feel like fantasy is supposed to be real. So some tips for dealing with these particular situations is that if you could be the rational one in this case, meaning that you're looking at this from a place of objectivity, and if you're aware of this already, that means that you are the clearer one in the situation. Be willing to open up and talk to them. Present your case about why they may be wrapped up in fantasy with evidence, with research, with some studies. Sometimes like data and numbers and statistics that kind of really makes things clear for that Pisces individual. Sometimes it's astrology. Letting them see things in a visual manner can help bring clarity to the situation. Or another way of looking at the situation is that the both of you together can experiment this fantasy. So, like I said, like fantasies are never going to be real. Fantasy is different from like a hope or a dream. A dream, you can make that real. But a fantasy, it just can never be real. That's why it's a fantasy. It helps you to escape something in your life, right? So if you would like, you can even allow you and that Pisces 7th house individual to fly off together in trying to make this fantasy real. But eventually you'll find out together that it didn't happen, it can't happen. But in that process of discovering the reality of the situation, it can lead to disappointment, it can lead to shame, but maybe together, you and that Pisces 7th house individual can find a place of compassion for each other. And through this realization that, oh, we're both just human. We're disappointed together. We're sad together. Allowing your emotions to merge and to flow and to know that you've been through these struggles because the two of you are simply human. That is true compassion. And that's when you allow that unconditional love to happen in your relationship. So maybe you do both. Maybe you do one or the other of these tips that I have here. Yes. So the Pisces 7th house individuals are looking ultimately to merge your emotional expressions together. That's what they're ultimately looking for. If the Pisces in 7th house individual think about you and they feel like this magic, intuitive connection, they still feel connected, intuitive connection with you, meaning that you've been through some harsh journeys together, you've been through some rough journeys together, but you've come out of that both sort of more clear with who you are, with your evolutionary growth, And that is the true, intuitive bond that if they still feel that way about you over time when they think about you, you know that they're going to be in it for the long run. And this intuitive feeling is not the same as feeling high on like spiritual bypass. That's different. Spiritual bypass is simply feeling this intuitive connection with you when there's not yet anything in the material world that really says you've actually experientially been through a test of your connection together. There's just this like still in the head, this fantasy in the head, right? That is the escape. That is not gonna show you that this Pisces individual is in it for the long term. But if over time it's the first scenario of the way that they feel when they think about you, then you'll know that you're in for something very magical and special. So yes, beautiful souls, that's going to be it for this short mini series. So yes, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below if you haven't. If you are in a relationship with these Earth rising individuals, let us know what your experiences have been in the comment below. If you have anything to add, you can do that in the comments below. And yes, I'll see you soon, beautiful souls. Have a beautiful day. Bye.